Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you, and what a deck do I have here for you today. This is actually a deck that a couple of people have requested over the course of this season in particular, and it's one I have not played in a long time, and that is a zombie variant. Of course, me being me, I could not play a 60-card zombie deck, although to be fair, 60 cards is probably just the optimal way to play most zombie decks, I think, even with Grass at 1, thanks to Triple Tactics Thrust making the card a lot easier to find. So, I decided to blend zombies with the Punk and Tearlaments engine. The main reason I opted for these two engines in particular is because Punk and Tearlaments both each have the ability to mill a lot of cards, and also Punk and Tearlaments not only both each independently work well with Zombie, but also with each other. So I figured putting all three of these into the same deck would not be too big of a stretch at all, and I found that was not the case. I didn't find that really any of the engines conflicted here. There were two cards that I think did conflict here. Glow Up Bloom and Mad Mauler both have really good graveyard effects, but I failed to appreciate that they both lock you into zombies. And the last few times I've played zombie decks, I had a swath of zombie monsters in the extra deck to summon, which is not necessarily the case here. So I think in a more pile-ish kind of zombie build like this, Glow Up Bloom and Mad Mauler should probably both be taken out because they both lock you. As well as I would definitely want to go over the rest of the monsters with a fine-tooth comb, but I think that's pretty much it. Uni-Zombie does force you to only battle with zombie monsters, but if you resolve a zombie world, that's not an issue at all, because then all of your monsters become zombie monsters. Remember, for a deck like this, if anyone ever complains that, oh, you just end on Baron and Rulkallos and Apo, and that's it. Just remember, as long as you have Zombie World in the field, just tell them they're zombies. It's in theme. Or at least that's what I said during the stream, so. But yeah, Glow Bloom and Mad Mauler should be taken out of a build like this. But for the most part, I did really like this build and how well everything seemed to fit together. Again, especially the Punks and the Tearlaments really helping out with the milling here, with the grass only being at 1. The Punk engine allows you to go into Chaos Ruler, which excavates 5. The Deer Note then brings back one of your level 8 Punk monsters. You always use Foxy Tune for that line, so you can always bring that one back. Then from there you can overlay for one of our actually few zombie extract monsters, the Zombie Vampire, which will mill you another 4. So if you get a Ze Amin on the board, that represents 9 cards being milled, and you even get a body out of the Zombie Vamp, and also another body off of bringing back Chaos Ruler, which is very cool. Chaos Ruler has not only our familiar friend Shinobi Necro to banish, but in this build, the even better banish target, in my opinion, which is Changshi the Spirado. This, I think, is my favorite zombie card. I think this is one of the most obscenely good zombie cards out there. Sometimes it can be a bit difficult to actually banish this card, but if this card does get banished, and it can be from the graveyard, then you can banish another zombie in your graveyard, like Shinobi Necro, and then you can bring this back. The thing that makes this so good is not only is it a level 6 body that'll summon itself similarly to how Shinobi Necro does, but also, during your main phase, you get to send any zombie from your hand or deck to the graveyard. There's no cost for that, there's no additional hoops you have to jump through. You just, once per turn, you just get to foolish a zombie, which is very, very good. Usually the zombies you'll want to get in the graveyard first are the Necroworld Banshee to activate Zombie World, or the Mezuki to bring back other zombies in your graveyard. And again, if Zombie World is in play, that brings back any one of your zombies. Zombie World being in play also allows our Doomking Balerdroch to come back during the standby phase, which will add even further disruption to our board. Like I said, the extra deck isn't filled with too many zombie monsters here. You can definitely put more in if you wanted to, you know, let me pull up some of like the zombie synchros, for example, right? Here we go. Like, I will say, the Skeletal Dragon Felgrand in particular, this card's actually definitely not bad at all. It has the ability to negate stuff if monsters get summoned from the graveyard, which is not hard to do not only for us, but also if your opponent does it, it'll proc it as well. And it's got pretty solid stats, so I could see playing this over maybe something like Dark, or even Appaloosa. Like, I didn't even actually make Appaloosa at all during these games we're going to see here. The main reason I play Appaloosa in decks like this is if you get disrupted and end up with, like, you know, Link 4's worth of random bodies on the board, then sometimes you can just go into this as a pivot. But another one you could play if you wanted to is the Red Eyes, or not this one, the level 10 one, the Red Eyes Zombie Dragon Lord. The thing is, though, like, I mean, yeah, this is a decent level 10 synchro, but bringing zombies back on your opponent's turn isn't really that great, frankly. Like, the best one to bring back would be Balerdroch, which already brings itself back if you have Zombie World in play. Honestly, and a lot of people are probably not going to like me saying this, but the best thing you can do with this, and the only reason I think I would play this, is if we were playing the Artifact Scythe. Because, if I can spell right, just spell Artifact here. Oh my god, I can't spell that. Oh, because I'm under, yeah. Because Scythe, like, I need to bring this up. We all know what this card is, right? Scythe does not care how it is special summoned. It does not have to be by its own effect. So, you can use the Red Eye Zombie Dragon Lord to bring it back during your opponent's turn while Zombie World is in play, because then Scythe will be a zombie, excuse me. So yeah, I don't know, the zombie secret monsters, this really is just a case where they're just weaker than the generic stuff, unfortunately. Which is a lot of why I am not playing them here. As far as what I am playing, we obviously have the Tearlaments fusions, which again, honestly, most of the reason I even play the Tearlaments stuff is for milling, particularly with like Kitkallos and Tear Cash. But we can still go into Rulkallos as a piece of disruption on turn 1, or we can go into Kaliedo-Heart on turn 2 to like remove some stuff if we need to. Immortal Dragon! If you've never seen Immortal Dog on YouTube, look it up. But anyway, Immortal Dragon! This card obviously is very good for not only setting up more zombies in the yard, but it's very flexible in what level it can be for making any of our other synchros here. We have Pep because we have the zombie engine, and Pep because it's very easy to make. Redoer is just in case we end up with a random leftover Schiren on the board, we have a way to go into like a Kaliedo-Heart or a Rulkallos on our opponent's turn. And then yeah, the links are just pretty generic stuff overall. So, oh, and then you might notice my one evenly match here, and you're probably saying, Hex, you've always said evenly is such a mid card, but you're playing it and at one of in a 60 card deck? Yeah, it's just a thrust target. I like the idea of playing this more than Harpy's Feather Duster because if we go first and we get, you know, stops, then we can thrust and set this, and if it's our only card, that's still fine. Like, they'll get to keep still just one card, like they would if we played this from hand anyway with nothing on field. And if we go second, I think this is better than Feather Duster because it doesn't just get rid of all the back row, but we can potentially use this to wipe out the opponent's whole board. So yeah, as a one-of thrust target, I don't think evenly is bad in this build. But yeah, the only things that would change are, again, taking out Glow Bloom and, not that one, Mad Mauler. Oh, also, Ancient Fairy Dragon is very uniquely good here. We're not only able to play Destrudo, but we already play a lot of different field spells. So, yeah, we are naturally able to cycle through them pretty easily. I haven't done it yet, but I think it's cool the idea of, like, activating an incidental Wraitsoth and then using an Ancient Fairy Dragon to pivot that into Tearlaments plays. Seems like it could be neat, but Also, these games were against viewers for our holiday viewer duel special. So thank you everybody who showed up for that. It was so appreciated. But yeah, let's go ahead and break this list down card by card, and then we'll see those games. We're on 1 Glow Up Bloom, 3 Maxx, 1 Shinobi Necro, 1 Mad Mauler, 3 Uni-Zombie, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 Noh-P.U.N.K Ze Amin, 1 Tearlaments Havnis, 3 Mezuki, 3 Shiranui Solitaire, 1 Fairy Tale Snow, 1 Gozuki, 2 Necroworld Banshee, 2 Tearlaments Schiren, 3 Tearlaments Reinoheart, 1 Noh-P.U.N.K Deer Note, 1 Changshi the Spirado, 1 Destrudo, the Lost Dragon's Fission, 2 Kashtira Fenrir, 1 Tearlaments Kashtira, 1 Doomking Balerdroch, 3 Noh-P.U.N.K Foxy Tune, 3 Noh-P.U.N.K Ogre Dance, 1 Alghoul Mazera, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 That Grass Looks Greener, 1 Triple Tactics Talent, 2 Troll Tactics Thrust, 2 Zombie World, 1 Primeval Planet Perlerieno, 1 Pressured Planet Wraitsoth, 2 Tearlaments Scream, 2 Emergency Teleport, 1 Evenly Matched, and then 1 Tearlaments Sulliek. That's going to be our 60 card main deck. For the extra deck, we're on 1 Tearlaments Kitkallos, 1 Tearlaments Rulkallos, 1 Tearlaments Kaliedo-Heart, 1 Immortal Dragon, 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon, 1 Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, 1 Baron de Fleur, 1 Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Shang-Ying, 1 Psychic End Punisher, 1 Time Thief Redoer, 1 Zombie Vampire, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy, 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, and finally 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. That is going to do it for our list. Let's see these games now. Okay, our first duel will be against Fission. Again, these games were played in our holiday duel room that we did on the 24th. So if you're interested in hanging out for more of the streams, definitely check out the link to my Twitch in the description below. And there you will find, well, my Twitch page, which you can follow and sub to get notifications of when I go live. So, wow, looks like Fission was cooking something with sprites, Punk, and Tearlaments. So they're on a Punk tier build as well, but with sprites. It was looking like anyway, instead of like the nimble anglers and stuff. But we do get to take the first turn here, and our hand is full of gas. So we're just going to go off here. To be fair, from what I recall, Fission ends up disconnecting, so this won't be a like full game, but I wanted to show this one anyway, just to show like what this deck can potentially do on turn 1. And as you can see, we even managed to set up a Baron de Fleur as like our first thing that we did as part of our like board setup. So, because I'm pretty sure my first actual game I got Nibiru'd, which duh, look at this deck. Of course you're gonna get Nibiru'd. So, being able to set up the Baron as early as possible, super handy. Ooh, that Scream, not only, of course, allowing Reinoheart, well, Reinoheart itself allows itself to mill Havnis, but that Scream milled a Sulliek. That will allow us to add Schiren, which will allow us to get this Necroworld Banshee in our hand into the graveyard. Between that and some of these mills we're going to be getting, it's definitely looking like we're going to be summoning some zombies from the graveyard in short order here. Yeah, there goes Glow Up Bloom, but again, it locks you into only specialing zombies, so that card's got to come out, unfortunately. Alright, we get to bring back the tier cache, so we're going to mill 8, feel great here. Again, love the Tearlaments engine for this exact reason. Putting a whole bunch of zombies into our graveyard. I saw Mezuki, I saw Uni-Zombie. That's enough. That's enough right there, trust. Uni-Zombie sending Changshi the Spirado. This will also bump its level up to 4. Now I can go for the Time Thief Redoer. I was going to go for Chaos Ruler, but then I realized I can actually use the Mezuki in my yard to bring back Glow Up Bloom, which is a level 1 tuner, and sync it with the tier cache, and that will allow me to go for Chaos Ruler. I also have the Changshi the Spirado in the yard. I maybe should have banned the Shinobi Necro instead to make another 10, but again, the Changshi the Spirado has like a higher ceiling, in my opinion, for what it can do. Oh my god, we're sending not only another Mezuki, but the Reinoheart. Reinoheart gets to proc because I have the Havnis in hand here. I added Havnis with the intention of just like keeping it kind of in hand there for disruption. So Man Mauler locks you into zombies, but here I am actually able to use it to go into Immortal Dragon. So maybe that is actually a reason to potentially keep it still, if you want to go into Immortal Dragon, but yeah, going into the Shang-Ying. We're not playing Dissipator in this extra deck, by the way, because of Zombie World. It just ends up messing with Dissipator's summoning requirement of needing a dragon too often, so yeah, Changshi is going to send the Balerdroch, so that'll come back during our standby phase. Or during their standby phase, rather. We get to link these last 2 monsters into IP, and then don't forget Time Thief Redoer ends up coming back here as well. Looks like they drew a Shinobi Necro, and then, yeah, this was the point where they disconnected, unfortunately. But, yeah, had we moved to their standby phase, then Balerdroch would have come back, making our final end board for that hand IP Rulkallos Redoer Shengyang Balerdroch Baron. And I don't even necessarily know that I played that optimally. One of the reasons I saved this replay was not only for this video, but also so I could go back and watch it, like, on my own time, to see, like, what all else I could have done differently there. It's just, there's so many things you can do with a deck like this once you really get started milling stuff that it can be hard to keep up. It can become very difficult to keep up very, very easily. But again, even though this was a brief duel, still wanted to showcase what the deck is capable of spitting out on turn 1 when it's got a bunch of engine and goes uninterrupted. So there is that duel. Let us move on now to the next one. Our our second duel is going to be against Jay, actually. Jay, under the current moniker of Oniros, the Dream Mirror Entity, I think is what the last word is, but this is our good buddy Jay, who you might remember came on to talk about Branded, and as always, Zever is on their trusty Branded deck here. Going for the Allure, banishing the Mercurier, drawing double Edge Imp Chain. Wow, but that does allow them to add the Spring and Skit, which is going to be enough for plays here. Now, as you can see, I did fail to open pretty much any meaningful amount of disruption in my opening hand, which is to be expected for a deck like this. You could definitely play more disruption if you wanted to, but I think this is the kind of deck where you just play more gas and try to power through it, I think. Or you could play a third thrust and maybe some more good going second thrust targets like Feather Duster, Herald of the Abyss, stuff like that. Alright, the Edge Imp will add the Fright for Patchwork, Albion getting sacked for the Bestial Rebellion, which will of course put it in the graveyard for its end phase effect. Bestial Rebellion also getting to put down the Branded Lost here. Patchwork adding the Poly and the Chain. That Retribution that's been set is also worth noting for sure. Branded's main phase 3 allows them to add back the Cartesia and then set the Branded in red, i.e. the end phase, so. Second Solitaire, definitely not what we wanted to see, especially with the Maxx getting fired off. We're definitely going to just try to play through the Maxx here. Gonna Ogre Dance for Ze Amin, and then I'll use Foxy Tune's effect to put this Mezuki in the yard and summon out the Deer Note. Okay, looks like Quem is going to end up coming down here. Quem sending the Albaz. That's scary, honestly. Makes me feel like they're going to try to bring back that Albaz Infuse. Uni-Zombie I'm going to use to put the Necroworld Banshee and the Balerdroch in the yard. But Rindbrum, rather Mirror Jade sending Rindbrum is just going to banish that, which I kind of figured was going to happen at some point. I was just waiting for the Mirror Jade to come down, so I trade to Mezuki and bring back Shiranui Solitaire to sack it for another Uni-Zombie to sync that with Deer Note and then go for a Chaos Ruler to try and get my play started. But nah, Branded Retribution is going to be the end of my turn. And even if it wasn't that, then yeah, this Branded in red definitely would have followed up with the Guardian Chimera and Stoutly that way too. So I want to show this game because I feel like it's only fair that if we highlight the strengths of this deck and what it can do uninterrupted on turn 1, we in turn also need to acknowledge the kind of drawbacks of a deck like this, which is what we're seeing right now, where we go second, and even against a board that only has a couple of pieces of interaction, it can be very difficult a lot of the time to kind of play through it. Also, good lord this hand. Good lord this hand. It's definitely, yeah, not going to take a lot at all to end up finishing me off here, so okay, we do need to bring back the Foxy Tune in defense mode. This will actually allow us to live one more turn here. Although that Branded in red is very scary. Same with the Mercurier in hand as well. Yeah, living by 1300, but yeah, it's I don't know, maybe if we ripped grass here. But I think Jay is also on a, well, okay, 37, this was the 49. Will be 48. 11 card mill is not bad at all. That's a lot of cards still. But no, we ripped Maxx. Right on time, Maxx. Yeah, I'm just going to go out on my own terms here. If I had managed to peel exactly grass off the top of the deck, maybe with the best of mills ever, I might have been able to mount a comeback. But yeah, you're hoping to top deck one card in a 60 card deck. It's like, yeah, good luck with that. Again, only fair, I think, to showcase the deck's weaknesses if we're going to highlight its strengths. But let's go ahead and see a couple more games moving forward here. Alright, this duel here is going to be against Pickled Placebo, who is also on-branded. So let us go ahead and check this out. Okay, we're going second this time, and once again, we did not open Disruption. However, as you can see, Pickled Placebo didn't open particularly well either. They had a kind of hand where they were forced to gamble with the Allure, and as soon as I saw set 3 and then Allure, I knew that, because believe me, I've had to play out hands like this a lot in the past. Mostly in like the TCG, I'd play a lot of decks with Allure, and yep, this is a very common thing. Not very common, but a thing you have to do sometimes, where you have to just set a bunch of cards, activate a lure, and hope that is good enough. Here, they did manage to draw a Springen's Kit, but that's still their only dark monster, so they have to banish it and keep the Retribution and Ash Blossom in hand. We're flipping up Lust, setting a card, and then passing. So, I figured that most, if not all of these cards were not actually going to be disruptions, so I started with the E-Telly here. And I was like, ooh, okay, we baited the Ash Blossom, now we can thrust, and we can search the grass. Except, oops, dummy me forgot that, yeah, they don't have a monster, so... Because my brain was telling me that, like, oh, I'm going second, and if you go second and activate thrust, then you get to grass. But, yeah, no. It's if they have a monster, not just if you go second. I will still use the Uni-Zombie here to set up the Shinobi Necro and Mezuki in my yard. And thankfully, this Thespian strategy does not seem like it's going to be doing anything by itself. So now I get to flip up grass, never punished. And we end up milling the Tearlaments Sulliek here. Placebo is going to eat my Mezuki with the call by, which is a very good play, honestly, because it not only, of course, stops this one Mezuki, but it stops me from using Mezuki for the rest of the turn, which can very, very easily come up here. So I'm going to Sulliek for Reinoheart and then send the Havnis, fusing Reinoheart and Havnis for the Kitkallos. And then using Kitkallos to add the Tearlaments Kashtira. Shiren is going to summon itself, ditching that Tear Cash in order to activate that. We milled Gozuki too, which is one of the ways to actually banish the Changshi out of your graveyard. It's one of the reasons why I like having the random one of Gozuki. Gozuki also just a fine card too, because much like Changshi, I believe if I recall correctly, Gozuki can also, yeah, just during your main phase for no cost at all, just send a zombie from your deck to the graveyard if it's on the field. So another good card, much like Changshi. It enables Changshi and is also good for a lot of the same reason too. So. Alright, so I'm going to summon the Mad Mauler from my hand with the Gozuki second effect to banish a zombie out of my graveyard and summon a zombie from hand, which is in turn what summoned the Changshi to my field. And then the two get to go for the Chaos Ruler. I whiff totally here, and even though I can't use them, I'll still set up some more Mezukis in my graveyard. Why not? I get to go for the Baron de Fleur here. And yeah, this was a misplay on my part. I should have just used the Kitkallos effect. If you're wondering what happened with the battle phase and why I did not end the duel there, it's because I made another misplay. I just assumed I had Zombie World on the field. I'm so used to always having Zombie World in play that I'm like, oh shit, I didn't actually set it up here. So what I should have done, I could have just done this too, is just activate Kitkallos' effect to bring back Tear Cash. This is a mill 8, which will probably put the Necroworld Banshee in my, yep, there it is, into the graveyard. It even put Tearlaments Schiren in there too, so yeah. I just clicked battle phase literally one activation too soon. I was looking for Zombie World in my graveyard there. Nope, they were both in my deck still, so yeah, had I just done this before moving to battle phase, I then could have swung in for lethal and just won the duel. Placebo's actually going to summon a Quem here, which got me a little bit scared. I'm like, oh no, please don't have plays, please don't have plays, please don't have plays. But no, they don't, thankfully. So, it's okay. We're never punished for a misplay. Never punished. We're just going to attack for lethal with what we have on board now. Which, again, to be fair, we should have done this last turn, but we'll just do it now. Alright, there is that game against Placebo, GG's. Unfortunately, they just did not have that great of an opening hand off that Allure there. We got one more game to check out. Let's go ahead and see it here. Okay, our final game is against Mascopium, who goes by Golden Turns on Twitch. Golden Turns, got to give you a huge shout out for the stream earlier this week, in which you were very, very generous with donation subs. So thank you so much. Turns is going to be on Lab. We're going to take the first turn, but unfortunately we did not open any plays with this hand, so we have to set Scream and Pass. Turn setting 4 cards and passing, which is very, very scary. Thankfully, it looks like 2 of them are evenlies, and 1 is a call by, in addition to the big welcome lab. So hopefully not going to be the most scary thing in the world. I would have been the Mezuki and the Balerdroch, but the call by is actually going to be pretty scary here, banishing the Balerdroch and stopping me from bringing that out, so yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. End phase, the big welcome lab gets flipped. I'm going to use the Maxx here to get the 1 incidental draw. Lady Lab coming down 2. It's going to have to be fine. Missing out on the draw here. I could have known that card was in hand, so we never don't chain Maxx there. Oh, and it's so painful. Our 1 draw off the Maxx, our 1 draw was the E-Telly. And if it had still been our main phase, we could have activated that and just gone off. We could have, yeah, summoned Ze Amin, added Foxy to, and summoned Deer Note, Saints for Chaos Ruler, and then from there, we very likely just have plays, so. This was a cool bit of tech here. We're overlaying the Lady Labs into number 23, Lancelot. For those who are not familiar with this card, this is a rank 8 which can attack directly. It can destroy a face-up monster on the field when it does battle damage. Also, check out this last effect. Once per turn, during either player's turn, when a spell, trap card, or another monster's effect is activated, detach one material from this card, negate the activation. Now, I'm sure that you're thinking, what the hell? This is a... what the hell? This is a rank 8 that has an Omni negate. It's generic, it can attack directly and destroy stuff. Why isn't this used more? Well, Lancelot is a very, very strong card, again, especially with that Omni Negate effect. However, one thing that can potentially be easy to overlook, which I'm not saying Golden Turns overlooked it here, this card is still good despite this drawback, but a lot of players might not recognize the drawback that Lancelot is not optional. You have to negate the first thing your opponent activates, and it's only the first thing because this is a once per turn. It is a soft once per turn, so if you manage to summon multiple Lancelots, then, oh no, that wouldn't even work because it's not an opponent, it just says another monster's effect. So I think if you had multiple Lancelots, they would all just try to negate each other. Ooh, so that wouldn't even be, no, that wouldn't be good. But yeah, this is mandatory, so what I can do here, basically, with that information is just flip up my Tearlaments Scream, and then, yeah, Lancelot has to negate it. And again, that is once per turn, so we know they can't negate this follow-up E-Telly. Now, I do know that my opponent has a big Welcome Lab down. I think we know that, don't we? Well, in any case, it's being flipped up now. And this will, of course, proc the lovely Lab effect, which will, in turn, proc my Triple Tactics Thrust. So, this time we do actually get to Surge of Grass off of it here. Wannabe, that's cute. It's a good card. Alright, Thrust adding the Grass. Grass coming down, milling me for 11 here, I think, if I remember right. No, 14. Even better. We hit a Shiren, we hit a Sulliek, and I believe we hit some other cool stuff in there as well. The Necroworld Banshee and a Mezuki, yep. And I mean, that's pretty much all you need to hit right there. If you hit those 2 cards, that is a summon back for any monster from the graveyard, but we also get to have this Shiren off the Sulliek, and add the Havnis as well, and then, yeah, ends up conceding there as our... Well, actually, if I recall correctly, there was some kind of weird... Because dual rooms do this sometimes, where sometimes it'll be like a disconnect, it'll show as a surrender. And I think that's might have been what happened here, if I remember right, but in any case, I feel like our comeback at that point was kind of inevitable, so... Not a bad spot to end off the duel either way. GG's golden turns, and again, thank you so very much for your very, very generous gift subs. In not this stream, but in one earlier this week. It was still very, very, very generous of you. Thank you so much. Thanks to everyone who showed up for the holiday viewer duels, and to all of you who have watched these games here on YouTube all the way to the end of the video. Thank you all very much. Let us now move to the outro. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching it all the way to the very end. That means a whole lot to me, and it's also a fantastic way to support the channel. And if you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways besides YouTube, there are plenty of ways to do that. If you check out the description below, you'll find a bunch of links down there. One of them goes to my Patreon. You're actually seeing the names of everyone subscribed to the Patreon on the screen right now. So if you're interested in getting your name in the credits here at the end, if you want to see more daily Master Duel content, or if you're interested in one-on-one private coaching sessions, I offer all of that on Patreon. I also stream live on Twitch. Feel free to go ahead and click that link and follow and or subscribe there. I also have the Discord community, if you want to follow that link, where hundreds of duelists have already signed up. Free to join, and you can just come hang out, talk about the game, and chill in general. Final link that's going to be in the description is my Twitter. You can follow that if you want some more notifications of what's happening with the channel. So, all in all, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day.